All right, ladies and gentlemen, we are back with another episode of the Daily Sporting, coming to you today talking about the three biggest NFL offseason moves, I would say. There's been a lot of different things going on in the league, and we're going to break it down. Today, I have Hammer with us, representing good old Freeport with us back in high school, and now you're out in what, the Bronx?
Yes, sir. Been out here for 3 years now.
Facts. So we got a sports fanatic on our hands over here. He's always with ESPN. We've seen him or heard him on what shows have you been on?
Humpty, Kenny, and Rothi. I've been on the Michael K show a couple of times. Alan Hans. A couple of guys here and there throughout ESPN New York. I know Mr. Taco has heard me several times throughout the last few years and was like, "Yeah, we need to do something with this because you know your stuff."
Yeah, it was because one day I was working last year and I'm just listening to it was Humpty, Canty, and Rothenberg, and I'm like I hear someone, I'm like, that sounds like my boy Jeff. Like, what's up? Let me send him a quick message. He's like, yeah, that was me. I was like, oh wow, really? So that was a pretty cool experience. I know he's a big we got what, Raiders. You're a big Raider fan. Who you like in football?
Raiders is my number one team. Raider Nation till I die, and I'll make sure that the guys in the Raider group pages on Facebook are aware of this too, so they can check us out. We get more followers. Basketball, I grew up a Knicks fan, but again, another Bay team, the Warriors. I saw Curry play against LeBron's Heat in 2000. I think that was 2014. He dropped 38 points that night. He really wasn't missing anything. And I told people then, like, give us some time. This team is going to be a problem. And that was before Curry even came. And baseball, Mets.
Oh,
I'm
sorry.
definitely happy that the season is finally going to be starting at the end of the month. Guys reported to camp today,
Mhm.
so I'm definitely looking forward. It's different. It's very, very different. Where today's July 1st, I would have been at least 5 or 6 games by now. So it's
I would have been halfway
definitely
through
rough.
the fantasy season, so I know exactly what you mean. It's weird.
It's rough. It's weird, and seeing them only playing 60 games and everybody talking about that, it's going to be very interesting. Especially numbers wise, stat wise, with a lot of guys. Like I'm curious to see how some of the top players in the league perform and overall end of the season what their numbers look like. It's definitely going to be something to look forward to, just as well as NBA starting back up.
Yep.
I know it was rough for everybody, and let me just take the time real quick to just say that anybody watching right now, I hope you guys are staying safe and continuing to stay safe. I know it's been a rough couple of months for everybody throughout the world, not just where we're at, but my thoughts and prayers are with you guys and your families right now. That's all I want to say, but I digress.
Yeah, and I think
Go ahead.
saying that that's an important thing for us to remember. Like, these players are still people at the end of the day, and COVID right now is becoming another issue again, where it's really coming about. And that's something that as much as we want sports and we want to have them on the field, we got to remember they have to do what's in the best safety of them. So a lot of things can get fuzzy going forward. The hope of sports is what we love. And today we're going to be bringing you the three biggest offseason shakeups, I would say, in the NFL, or moves or transactions, however you want to phrase that. But the three biggest moves. And for the first move, I guess we would talk about one that shocked a lot of people, and that's the Patriots. They let Tom Brady and Gronkowski go over to the Tampa Bay Buccaneers and pair with Bruce Arian and pair with Mike Evans and Chris Godwin to form a ridiculous offense. What are your thoughts on that right now?
Not much of a surprise in regards to Brady. A lot of people saw it coming during the season last year. There were talks earlier in the season where he had sold his house.
Yeah.
So people kind of knew something was up. People were starting to get worried, and there were a list of teams that he could have gone to, including my Raiders. But that was a whole bunch of talk. Him and Mark Davis were seen at a UFC fight, and Dana White tried to stick his 2 cents in on that, and he ended up in Tampa. It's going to be very, very interesting to see. He spent 20 years under Bill Belichick, and I know he had played. If I remember right, I believe Arians was his quarterback coach when he was playing for the Patriots at some point in time. So I remember reading something about that not too long ago. I could be wrong, but I'm almost positive he was his QB coach once upon a time. So it's going to be interesting to see how things pan out. He definitely has some weapons in Godwin and Evans, most definitely, and he has his best friend, his favorite toy. Now he was traded by the Patriots, I think, for a 4th-round pick, if I remember right.
And my favorite part is that he went into retirement. He did the whole Fox Sports thing for a year because he didn't want to play for the Patriots. Second Tom Brady goes over to Tampa. He's like, I'm coming back, and I'm only playing for Tom Brady. Like, that's a level of loyalty there.
Well, you know what? Of course, he did go to Fox for a little bit, and he also went to WWE for a short period of time and won the 24/7 title. And shortly after he became a Tampa Bay Buck, R-Truth ambushed him in his backyard, pinned him, and took that title right back.
Really?
I still can't get over that.
Gronk is a character, and
he is. But for the WWE, I know that they were just trying to get more viewers. But I'm sorry, wrestling is not it for you, buddy. As crazy as you are, the first the night that you debuted on SmackDown, I know it was during this whole pandemic, no fans in the arena or anything, but it was just like, did that just happen? Like, what are you doing right now? What is this dance? This is a WWE, not Chippendales, but whatever.
Yeah,
but
that's the reason why he decided to come back.
But the last time that Tampa won a playoff game was 2002. Think about that. That was, I believe, the year that Gruden was still head coach, and they won the Super Bowl. So it's been a long time coming. So hopefully, I know the people in Tampa are super excited. The people in New England, they got a new shiny toy a few days ago in Cam Newton. Let's look at that.
But let's look at what Tampa Bay actually has going on in them. Byron Leftwich looked like a really capable. He started calling more of the plays on the sideline last season. And I think his growth paired with the Tom Brady could be a very interesting dynamic because Leftwich has played the position and he's going to lean on some of that knowledge that Tom has. And I think that's going to be a really interesting combination to see how these guys come together. I think a forgotten man on that offense also is O.J. Howard. This kid has all sorts of talent at the tight end position, and he's never really been able to put it together. I want to see how they split up the usage between Gronkowski and him. And then the other thing is the running back position for Tampa Bay is something that's interesting to me as well, for not only real life but also fantasy. I believe that they drafted someone to complement Ronald Jones, and I forgot his name. It's not coming to me right now. I'm going to look it up for you guys in a second. But these two running backs, I feel like, are going to be a huge part of where Tampa Bay goes, if anything. So Tom Brady going down to a fully stacked offense, I think that drought that you're mentioning, that since 2002 Tampa Bay hasn't been in the playoffs, I think that it gets erased, and I think they have to be a top 5 contender for the Super Bowl just off the strength of that offense. I mean, I think that other than maybe Kansas City, there's very few offenses that can offer you that kind of firepower.
So based on the power rankings that came in after the draft, and this was pre-Cam Newton signing with
Patriots.
With the Patriots, we're looking at Tampa Bay being in ESPN's power rankings right now as number 7. This was post free agency. They were ranked 10th, and then they went up into number 7. Now, the player that benefited from this, from what they're saying, is Tom Brady. Like you said, they do have a new rookie running back in Ronald Jones. So it's a matter of seeing what type of offense Bruce Arians puts out there. You're looking at you're talking about OJ Howard before, and the one thing that I can see them potentially doing is probably running two tights like they did
running back, yeah,
like they did in the Patriots had done with
Aaron Hernandez.
Yeah, I didn't even want to say the name, but yeah, Aaron Hernandez and Gronk in the past. And you know what? The other thing is, at least with Gronk, I know he was a little bit injury prone over the last few years, but the one thing that you can utilize him as a wideout is a big body as he is. You could definitely use him as a wideout, and then keep OJ Howard at the tight end position inside on the line. And like I said, it's a matter of again, with this whole COVID thing and everything, people aren't really able to work together. But Brady there have been videos of Tom Brady and teammates working out at some high schools down in the Tampa area. It's just a matter of them putting it together on the field, because the one thing that we know is you can have everything written up on paper, up and down the internet, experts this, that, and third, but it's not until Sunday when kickoff happens that we know what's going to happen this season.
Mm-hmm. And the rookie running back that Tampa Bay actually drafted was Keyshawn Vaughn out of Vanderbilt. And from everything that I remember hearing them say, he was a pretty good runner. He seems like he was more straight line, pound you kind of guy. Sounds like a good compliment to Ronald Jones. Last year, the running back situation, I know from a fantasy perspective, was completely horrible in Tampa Bay. So going forward, knowing the way Bruce and Tom like to run a diversified offense, I think that's going to be a really interesting team to watch. Scenarios, position battles, that's a high-rising team. And then I would say the number 2 offseason shakeup or transaction that we saw would involve the team that got rid of or lost, Brady and Gronk. That would be the Patriots getting Cam Newton after everything that's gone on, and getting him for a modest price. I believe that Richard Sherman today, tweeted what his contract really was, and it was like he gets $1 million, like he gets the veterans minimum as his base salary, and then with incentives he can go up to $7 million. I saw for Cam Newton, and from what I also read, the Patriots are the first team ever to lose a Super Bowl winning or an MVP quarterback, the MVP quarterback being Tom Brady, and then gain an MVP quarterback back in Cam Newton. So it's a wild offseason for the mad genius Bill Belichick. What are your thoughts on the Cam Newton signing?
A surprise, but not really, because throughout the whole free agency, the Patriots were actually one of the first teams I looked at in regards to a landing spot, just for the simple fact that we didn't know what Stidham has. And I think that Belichick wants to try to continue his legacy with or without Brady. It's more or less, I'm going to plug somebody else in and let's see who makes it back to the Super Bowl first. What you had said about the contracts, or in regards to Cam's contract, you're absolutely right. And it's funny because there's a lot of players that are making a decent amount right now over somebody that was a league MVP. Teddy Bridgewater is going to make $8 million in 2020 after signing a 3-year contract with Carolina, the team that released Newton earlier this year.
I'll be honest, I still can't understand it. I get that Matt Rule wants his own guy. I get that Teddy's maybe a little more accurate, but Teddy's never been a everyday NFL starter for 3 years in his career yet. Cam Newton is a warrior. Cam Newton in his last season was hitting at 68% completion rating before last season, where he was hurt and pretty much missed the whole season. So to me, it's almost disrespectful what they did to Cam. But I think that with the Patriots, they're smooth, savvy shoppers, man. They waited it out. I'm gonna be honest. When I was looking at what the Patriots were doing, they let so many people go. They had Stidham as their number 1 quarterback. I thought they were going to maybe tank and try to get Trevor Lawrence over from Clemson, because I was like, what are you guys doing? And, like Bill always does, he's a savvy shopper. He waited till the market value on Cam went virtually to nothing. Cam knows that there's no starting spots right now pretty much available. Ben Roethlisberger's back with Pittsburgh. You got Gardner Minshew, who seems like he's going to be given the keys in the Jaguars because they want Trevor Lawrence. Like, I can't understand why the Jaguars didn't sign him. That's to me the biggest mess up, I think. The Jags were a team that were in the playoffs 2 years ago, had a solid base. you got a whole bunch of picks, and now you're rebuilding already. I don't know. The Jags to me dropped the ball.
It was all Uncle. They have faith in Uncle Rico. That's what it is.
Like,
that mustache, the headband, and the shorts. They love them some Uncle Rico right now. It was weird because they said in regards to Cam, there were only 2 teams that reached out to him. And my thing is, I understand he's been injured, but I think also it was, can he come in to any other team as a backup? And I don't think that's what he wanted, and he doesn't. I don't believe that he's ready for that yet. Because you're talking about
that yet.
You're talking about Ben Roethlisberger right now, and he's been injured the last, I want to say, 2 seasons, if I remember right. Like, do we know how long he's going to be healthy this year? It's very, very interesting to see him with New England, and again, it's going to be only time will tell thing. But yeah, the money that he's getting compared, like with his experience and being a former league MVP, it is a bit disrespectful. Like, you have a backup quarterback in Taysom Hill, who just re-signed with the Saints. He's got a contract that's valued at $10.5 million annually. Nick Foles had a big contract when he was with Jacksonville, but now he's getting a total of $8 million in 2020 after being traded to the Bears. Tua, the rookie Tua, I'm not going to butcher his name. I'm just going to say Tua, who was drafted by the Dolphins overall. His contract was just over $7.5 million, and he hasn't even played a game yet. Like, it's a bit disrespectful, but at the same time, a lot of people, the question now is, is he going to fit under Belichick? Is he going to be able to play in the system of the Patriot way? It's just a matter of time, because you know how he can tend to be. When he first started in the league, he kind of had that little attitude on him, the little cockiness, and it kind of calmed down a little bit. Then they went to the Super Bowl, they lost, and it went back to Cam being the spoiled kid, give me my ball back. See, we got to see if that's going to be checked.
I don't know. Like, to me, Cam, like, okay, yes, I know Cam rubs a lot of people the wrong way. I know that Cam Newton, his attitude or his flashiness or his bravado, a lot of people don't like. But when you see Cam Newton, all his teammates give him great reviews. They say he's a teammate behind him. But Cam, he wears his heart on his shoulders. So when he's frustrated, when he has it, you see it sometimes in his face. But he doesn't throw temper tantrums on the sideline like a Terrell Owens or anything like that. He's not sitting there going absolutely bonkers on coaches, more often than not. Maybe once or twice, but I don't really see Cam Newton out there running into Riverboat Ron's face and screaming at him. I've never seen that. And
the funny thing is, like, in regards to who he's had as weapons in the past when he was at Carolina, he never had an elite receiver. His running backs have always been average. This is pretty much exactly what he's going to get in New England right now, except for Edelman. The running game with Carolina was average. New England has a system with their run game that's like, it could work with Cam in the backfield, because now they're going to have 3 runners on the field at all times.
He did have McCaffrey in the backfield for a little bit of this time, and McCaffrey started to explode with Cam on the team, and now they're moving away from a Cam-led team to a McCaffrey-led team.
Right.
But I think that one thing about the Patriots is they know how to get the most out of their talent. So he may not have the most talented wide receiver core, but I saw he was already working out Mohamed Sanu. And Mohamed Sanu, he may not be the best wide receiver, but he's very consistent, and he's a lot better than a lot of the stuff that he would normally have on Carolina. Like, if you put him up, like Kelvin Benjamin had some talent, but then he was like, he was like almost like a flash in the pan. He couldn't sustain it. The kid that they have now, I forget his name. They have 2 wide receivers who are pretty good. I don't know why I'm drawing blanks on the names, but they have good young wide receivers in Carolina. So I was really disappointed that he was hurt last year, because I thought that was the most talented team he had been on in his career. I thought that was better than even the Super Bowl teams with Greg Olsen and all them, because those teams really depended on Cam running the ball. And that's the other thing. Cam can still run. You put him in the red zone, and now I'm sitting there. He could run it. He could throw it. He could hand it off. There's a lot. Belichick and Cam Newton is a scary combination.
The one thing that we also need to take in consideration with Cam is he's taken a lot of hits over the years. And the main thing right now is the man's health. Like he's taken, let's see, 9 years of hits, about 922 of them. That's 307 more than Russell Wilson in second place, according to ESPN Stats and Information.
Yeah.
Carolina could render him incapable of returning to his peak, and maybe that's the reason they parted ways. But at the same time, Carolina is another somewhat of a rebuild right now. You just got a new coach in Matt Rule. You have Luke Kuechly is gone. I believe Olsen is gone as well now. Like
I think Olsen's still there, right?
Are they Zeri wanted out? Because I know he was very, very frustrated with things that have been going on with the front office. So I'm not sure if he is still there at this point. So it's another thing that take into consideration with them. Definitely, and it looks like they're on the brink of a rebuild. You signed a quarterback in Teddy Bridgewater, who was out for quite some time with that potentially career-ending knee injury, and then he played a year with New Orleans, and now he's here. He's in Carolina. So it's going to be very interesting to see some of these teams and some of these new quarterbacks, because the one thing that they're saying in regards to the league itself, there's not that many good quarterbacks out there, whether it being starters or backups right now. You have a handful.
Which makes it even more. What makes it more interesting to me is how hard it was for Winston to get a job. Like I get that his interceptions are bad, I get that, but the kid has some arm talent. He could throw some touchdowns. I would like to see him with a coach that like I thought to me, like I guess Bill would have gone crazy, but I would have loved to see Bill take him and build him into something.
He would have gave Belichick a heart attack.
He made some horrible reads and some horrible throws, but he just had LASIK, so I'm going to blame it on the eyes.
Maybe that's why I stopped playing baseball a long time ago, because I didn't have great vision until I started wearing contacts 3 years ago. Oh, wait. Then all of a sudden I started seeing the ball in the outfield a lot clearer.
But yeah, that's a whole nother topic into itself, Jamies. So let's round it out with our number 3 most shocking NFL offseason move, and that's going to be Bill O'Brien sending Hopkins to the Cardinals for David Johnson and a number 2 pick, a second round pick.
I believe it was second round pick and David Johnson, which I don't know. I don't know how Bill O'Brien has a job right now. I don't
either. Like, you're taking on the contract of David Johnson and replace, like, you traded Hopkins' contract for David Johnson's contract, and Hopkins is significantly better player right now in the NFL than Johnson. And not only that, Hopkins is probably one of the top 3 wide receivers in the game right now. And he's paired up with your quarterback who took you to the NFC division or championship rounds. They were in the semifinals pretty much. So to get rid of your quarterback, Deshaun Watson, top 3 quarterback in the league, get rid of one of his top weapons for Johnson, who couldn't even keep his job, to Kenyon Drake. I don't know about that. That to me is a horrible, horrible, horrible move.
So, the Cardinals pretty much they robbed the Texans with this.
It was so bad.
You got an elite receiver in DeAndre Hopkins, who with the trade grade for this, the Cardinals got a B+, while the Texans got an F, which is totally understandable.
Yeah.
Hopkins is definitely top 3 receivers in the league right now. Anybody that tries to say that Beckham is better than him, you need to get tested. Kenyon Drake, he had to get out of Miami, especially with Gase when he was the head coach at the time. And that dude is definitely a major issue in the locker rooms. He can't keep a team together from from things that have been said with players in Miami, and now it seems like that's going on with the Jets right now, because I know it started shortly after he came over there. There were issues with him and Le'Veon Bell, and now Jamal Adams wants to get traded. But in regards to this trade between these two teams, David Johnson has significantly dropped down ever since his wrist injury in 2017. He has been a replacement level back over the last 2 seasons. So for them to go and take this trade was something that they really, again, I don't understand how Bill O'Brien has a job right now after pulling off such a ridiculous trade.
Absolutely. And to point out one thing about David Johnson's numbers, think of it like this. David Johnson put up those pathetic numbers behind the same offensive line that Kenyon Drake came in at the end of last season and blew the lid off the game. So it's not like you can say, oh, he had a bad offensive line. Well, it's the same offensive line that Drake was running behind, and Drake went off. But, to continue.
Absolutely right. And I'm looking at DeAndre Hopkins' stats right now. Like, the dude averages anywhere between 90 to 105 receptions a year.
And how many drops does he have on that? I know he had 0 drops.
I wish I could find that right now. I'm not seeing drops. I see fumbles. I'm not seeing drops. The dude he's a great talent, and he's been a solid receiver for years and years and years. And he's always putting up solid numbers, especially when it comes to yardage and his average. His average yardage is around 13 and a half yards on average or reception. Yards per year, he's averaging over 1,200 every single year since he's been in the league. He's a beast. This is going to be, I believe, his 8th year going into the season. This will be his 8th season. 632 career receptions, 8,602 yards, 54 touchdowns for his career. The kid is something special, and he had a great weapon in Deshaun Watson. So it sucks that the pair are no longer together. Now he's got Kyler Murray as his quarterback, which the offense, you got Kenyon Drake, you got Kyler Murray, who I still think didn't earn Rookie of the Year, but I'll leave that story for another day. And Larry Fitzgerald, who this dude age? Does this dude age?
And not only that, he is he's a leader. He's everything you could dream of in a football player for Larry Fitzgerald. Even when he's reached this point of his career where, everyone's like, how are you still playing? You see that he's a full-on leader. And to see Hopkins and Fitzgerald on the field at the same time, and Fitzgerald can still go over the middle. Hopkins can go anywhere. Kyler Murray is going to be could be a dynamic player this year. Just in real life NFL and fantasy NFL, what he can do is really scary, because he can run, he can throw. He now has bona fide weapons. And Fitzgerald, he can't make the same plays that he used to make, but he's still a consistent receiver that you can depend on in the red zone, big body guy. And now you add a Hopkins on top of that with his ability to run. That's a scary offense.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to seeing Arizona and Seattle play now, because I feel like Pete Carroll is really creative. He'll do a bunch of stuff. Wilson and Murray almost play similar. So I like to see what kind of defenses he'll have concocted for Murray. He's going to be seeing him twice a year for a long time now. I think that's going to be the real chess match. I think that the Rams are overrated. I think the 49ers. If Jimmy G keeps playing like how he played last year, I don't know how long they can keep that up, because he was not that good. He was not that good.
Think about it. San Francisco is one of those teams that really wanted Tom Brady. They wanted him to come home. Yeah. That would have definitely turned a lot of heads had he gone to the Bay. But yeah, the NFC West, definitely going to be a dogfight throughout the season. And like you said, with the Rams, Yeah, a tad bit overrated. I think they looked good a couple of years back. Goff is kind of slowly falling off, and their Gurley's gone.
Yeah.
Um, who else is gone? Because I feel like they've lost a lot of
They,
people, a
tra- they,
lot of
they traded
offensive players.
they traded Cooks to the Texans,
That's
which is
right.
the thing that the Texans did. The Texans did get Cook. They have Fuller. I think they got Robbie Anderson. I don't remember. I know they signed another wide receiver, or they got someone else. So they got Watson, some speed guys on the outside, but nothing to the level of Hopkins. But yeah, I think the Rams are a team that they're not like, if you're building around golf, I don't trust it. If you're building around Jimmy G, I don't trust it. Jimmy G has never really come out there and lit the world on fire for 5 straight games, putting up 300 yards passing, throwing for the touchdowns, and you don't have Emmanuel Sanders anymore. So with that offense, you're really going to depend on Debo. You're going to really depend on some of the other wide receivers, young kids they have.
Breaking news: Debo's out for the next 3 to 4 months because he broke his foot a few weeks ago.
Oh no!
Yeah, so they're and I got a guy at work now that's a diehard Niners fan, and I'm like, "What happened to Debo? Oh, he broke the top of his foot." Like, bro, you guys don't really have an offense right now. Like, what other weapons? Well, you have Kittle. Don't make forgot about Kittle. That is one talented tight end. And I honest to God thought if Gronk didn't come back, Gronk is back now, but I'm not putting him in the top right now just because he was off. Kittle and Kelsey are the two best tight ends in the league right now.
Yeah,
they're both explosive. They got great size.
Yeah,
they're phenomenal, either on the line or split out. Those are two guys that just amazing to watch.
But the guys, there's a couple of guys up and coming, like the kid down in Baltimore, Mark Andrews.
Yes.
I'm watching that kid this season, and I think Gronk is going to be sneaky value this year in picks. But now we're getting into the fantasy stuff, and we're going to save that for another episode. Definitely going to be some exciting times talking about all the different players, where they are, and how we have them ranked out for the rest of the season. We went over, like I said, our 3 biggest offseason moves. They are not ordered in any way, but the top 3 are Brady and Gronk going to Tampa, the Cam situation and how he landed with the Patriots, and number 3 is going to be Hopkins going over to the Arizona Cardinals. Jeff, before we head out, is there anything else you'd like to add for the fans or for this episode?
I just want to thank you for having me on. We've been talking about this for so long, and now we finally got this up and running together, and I'm definitely looking forward to working with the rest of the team. And I want to thank everybody that watched or is going to watch. Thank you for your guys' support, and just continue to share and get as many followers in here as well. And make sure to wash your hands and your asses.
All right, guys. I just want to thank you guys again for watching. It's been a fantastic time. We're going to only get better as we do it more. So we appreciate you all. Have a wonderful evening. Stay safe, and catch you guys on the flip side.
Later, guys.